Well, NASCAR champion Tony Stewart returning to the track today, nearly 3 weeks after he struck and killed a sprint car driver, Kevin Ward Jr., just 20 years old. He spoke out for the first time since the crash on Friday. Here's a bit of it.
This has been one of the toughest tragedies I've ever had to deal with, both professionally and personally. And this is something that will definitely affect my life forever. I think that being back in the car this week with my racing family will help me get through this difficult time.
So, did he come back too soon? What are the NASCAR insiders saying about Tony's return? Fox Sports NASCAR reporter Bob Dillner now joins us. Bob, thank you for being with us from Atlanta. So what are the other drivers saying?
Honestly, they are all excited to see Tony Stewart back behind the wheel of his number 14 car for today's race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And, you know, I think from a driver's perspective in the NASCAR world, a lot of people take this as, you know, Tony trying to deal with the healing process on the emotional side for him as well. And sometimes when something horrific happens, you know, a lot of times the best thing you can do is bury yourself in your work. And in the NASCAR world, according to drivers, this is the best way for Tony Stewart to do that. I've spoken to Jimmy Johnson, you know, I've spoken to Kurt Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., some of Tony Stewart's peers in the NASCAR garage area, and they are all happy to see him here, and they hope that being back behind the wheel of a race car where he can concentrate at the job at hand instead of being at his home in Indiana and having to just dwell on the incident itself helps him a little bit with the recovery process.
I noticed Jeff Gordon, you know, one of the best in the business, he said this: I'm very supportive of having him back. I know based on watching the press conference how emotional this has been for him. I do think that the best thing for him is to be back in that race car. But I got to tell you what, yesterday after we did this story, quite a few people tweeted me saying, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of known as a hothead. He probably should. One guy got really upset saying he should be behind bars because maybe he jerked his car over, you know, not wanting to kill him, of course, but that he's known to be very aggressive and the investigation should continue. Have you heard that?
Well, I have heard that, and there are some skeptics out there, including some of the media members that cover NASCAR on a full-time basis. But knowing Tony Stewart, Tony honestly has a big heart. The reason why he was at Canandaigua Speedway that Saturday night in a sprint car race was to help promote the event, to help bring racing fans to the racetrack. And I think Tony Stewart is, you know, misconstrued at times. He has a vigor. He's very competitive,
yes,
and he has shown that competitiveness with some of his endeavors in the racing scene in the NASCAR garage area. But at the same time, we also have to caution, and NASCAR even said this the other day in their press conference with the president of NASCAR, Mike Helton, said the investigation is still ongoing in upstate New York with the Ontario County Sheriff's Department. And they say they are still a couple of weeks away from determining the outcome of that investigation. So at this time, Tony Stewart allowed to drive, but there are a lot of skeptics out there about, you know, whether or not he should be back behind the wheel of a NASCAR.
Yeah, some people saying maybe we'll just stay out until the investigation is over. But his sponsor is still backing him, right?
Yes, Bass Pro Shops is his main sponsor on that 14 car. And we learned over the course of the last couple of days that Johnny Morris, who is the head of that organization, actually spent some time with Tony Stewart last week to discuss the entire situation. And Johnny put out a statement yesterday saying that he feels for Tony Stewart, he feels for Kevin Ward Jr.'s family. But at the same time, Bass Pro Shops, which gives Tony Stewart millions of dollars to be able to run the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series circuit, they stand by him at this time.
Yeah. See if he can concentrate today. You know, you got to have full concentration over 200 miles an hour. Hey, Bob, thanks a lot.